you're welcome, Dr. Hewa Khalid. I'll just quickly read most important part of his bio. Again, he has a long one, but we don't have time to go through all of it today. Hewa Khalid works as a lecturer at the Kurdish language department, Koya University in southern Kurdistan, northern Iraq. He had finished his PhD in Kurdish language and culture at the Dicle University in Bakur, what they also call southeastern Turkey. His thesis title was Teaching Kurdish as a Second Language. He had obtained his MA in Kurdish Studies, University of Exeter here in the UK. His BA was in Kurdish language and literature at Koya University, where he teaches currently. His most recent publication is called Nowroz from Kurdish and Persian Perspectives, a comparative study which was published this year in Journal of Ethnic and Cultural Studies. Some of his other publications, he has Hinker version for teaching Central Kurdish Sorani, Kurdish language, its family and dialects in Kurdish Kurmanji, which was published in Kurdiname. The history of teaching Kurdish as a second language, which was presented as a paper at a conference. Kurdish dialects continuum as a standardization solution, and many other. I'm sorry, Master Hewa, we don't have time to go through all of it, similarly like with Ronay Khan's. So the floor is yours. Please try to stick to your 15 minutes. If not, on the 15th minute, I will have to say wrap it up in 2 minutes. Thank you.
It's okay. Hello, everyone. Actually, it is a great opportunity to be with you and talk about Kurdish language. I'll try to manage my time and do not make you angry. Thanks for Ronay and for the great presentation that she presented about Kurdish language in northern Kurdistan or Turkish Kurdistan or whatever you call it. So I want to share my screen and let's start. So I think now it's okay, yeah.
Yes, your screen is shared with us.
That's great. Okay, I'm going to talk about Kurdish language in Kurdistan region of Iraq. My presentation is a little bit different from Ronay one because Kurdish language here is a formal language, and let's see. First, make it bigger. Yeah. Okay, first let's see the Kurdish dialects. In Kurdistan, as you see here in northern Kurdistan, most people speak in Kurmanji or northern Kurdish, we call it, and central Kurdish is here, mostly is spoken in Iraqi Kurdistan and Iranian Kurdistan, southern Kurdistan or eastern Kurdistan. There are many words to say the same, and I please and southern Kurdish, which is mostly spoken in Iran. So the fourth dialect, which is Gorani and Zazaki, we always categorize it like that because some linguists believe that they near each other, and some others say, okay, Haurami here and some Kakais here and Zazaki in north. It is, this dialect is everywhere. So the other three were categorized according to Kurdistan geography, and they put it Gorani and Zazaki together to make it the fourth dialect. And this purple one is a mixed, the mixed area. So Now I'm going to talk about this part of Kurdistan, which is called Southern Kurdistan or Iraqi Kurdistan. As you see, all the dialects are available here. People mostly are speaking in Central Kurdish or Sorani, while there are Kurmanjis. Here, the Kurmanji subdialect in Kurdistan region of Iraq is called Bahdini, and we have some Hawramis here. And Southern Kurdistan, there's also Southern Kurdish, which is spoken in Khanaqin and Badra and Jassan and in south of Kurdistan. So there are also Kakais living around Mosul. They live here, and Kakais and Hawramis are in the fourth group of Kurdish dialects, which is Gorani and Zazaki. So let's just now a little bit about history, Kurdish language history in this part of Kurdistan, because it is very important to understand the Kurdish language situation here, because as Ronahi talked about Kurdish language in Turkey, it was banned, and here in Iraq, the situation is something else. After the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, this part of Kurdistan linked with Iraq. Iraqi Kurds revolted against this division, and as you may know, there were Sheikh Mahmoud revolution. Later, British mandate of Iraq agreed to provide some cultural and linguistic rights. So the British authority also printed Peshkotan newspaper in Suleymania, which was in the 20s of the last century. And this newspaper had a great impact on Kurdish language in general. So Suleymania was the center of Kurdish nationalism in southern Kurdistan, and later became the center for all Kurdistan as well. And the dialect of Suleymania has become the language of Kurdish intellectuals in Iraq. So after the Iraqi revolution, I'm just touching the important time is a little bit quickly because we don't have enough time. After the Iraqi revolution and changing Iraqi system in 1958 from monarchy system to republic system, the Directorate of Education of Kurdish Education or of Education in Kurdish was opened in Baghdad. So they tried to make Kurdish the language for education in Kurdistan region of Iraq. At that time, it wasn't recognized. One of the main points in Kurdish Iraqi peace process in the 1970s was studying in Kurdish language. It is called Rekautaname Azar or Azar peace process between Mullah Mustafa Barzani and the Iraqi government. At that time, Kurdish language was one of the points, and studying Kurdish was very important for Kurds. So the language of education in Suleymania, Arbil, and some parts of Kirkuk changed into Kurdish Duhok also. But later, some tribes in Duhok refused to study in Kurdish. The reason behind this was actually because of the economic factor, because Kurdish, when you at that time somebody knows Kurdish, do not know Arabic, so it becomes a problem, and they could not get a job. So Kurdish wasn't economic language, I mean, to get money. After the 1991 Kurdish uprising in Iraq, Kurdish language became the formal language of Kurdistan region of Iraq. So after this event in 1991, Kurdish became the formal language of Kurdistan of Iraq. But when we say Kurdish, okay, which Kurdish? Somebody might ask. Education and governance is in Kurdish, but which dialect? Because of the historical factors, political activities, etc., Central Kurdish has become the formal language of Kurdistan region, while Badini, or which is the subdialect of Kurmanji, also wanted to compete, and in the 1997 they converted education into Kurmanji. So Badini, which is a Kurmanji sub-dialect, supported by KDP, which is the ruling party in Kurdistan region of Iraq, and they changed the education into Bahdini in Duhok province, while the same chance has not given to the other dialects, for example, Haurami and Southern Kurdish. The key problem there is that the education in Duhok was not in standard Kurmanji. It was in Badini accent, which raised a new issue for Kurdish language. So, I mean, nowadays, education in Duhok province is in Bahdini. It is it is a subdialect of Kurmanji, but its alphabet is different. I mean, they write in Arabic alphabet, and it is so it raises a new problem. I mean, now I'm sorry about what's happened. Okay, it raises the alphabet issue. Alphabet issue is also one of the main problems for Kurdish language, because Central Kurdish, Southern Kurdish, and Gorain dialects use modified Arabic alphabet, while Northern Kurdish, I mean Kurmanji and Zazaki, use Latin alphabet, except Bahdini subdialect of Kurmanji. So the alphabet has become the contemporary issue of Kurdish language. A group of Kurdish scholars, mainly in Iraqi Kurdistan, have signed a petition in 2012 to recognize Central Kurdish and its alphabet as a standard Kurdish language, formally in KRG. While another group, mainly in Turkey Kurdistan or in Bakur, rejected their petition, and they asked KRG, or Kurdistan region of Iraq, to do not accept such demands. I mean, so the alphabet became the real issue for both sides, because nowadays people in Kurdistan region who study in Kurdish, they cannot read the writings, books, and etc. In Northern Kurdish or in Kurmanji, because Kurmanji is written in Latini, while Central Kurdish is in modified Arabic alphabet. Let's talk about the last situation in Iraq or in Iraqi Kurdistan. I mean, nowadays, other Kurdish dialects are under Central Kurdish influence, or what you call Sorani. Both Gorani and Southern Kurdish in Iraqi Kurdistan are slowly melting within Central Kurdish, and I mean, the chance which is given to Bahdini, it is not given to Gorani and Southern Kurdish, which is a big problem for Kurdish language. Let's say language is just like some linguists say language is just like skiing on snow. When you speak it, you feel it. So the Kurds in other parts, in particular Kurds in Turkey, cannot use their language in education, and even Kurmanji has been banned in public in Turkey for many years, as my friend Ronay talked about it. So there are many Kurds, they do not know their language, and it is very difficult to understand the other dialects of Kurdish. There are some researches about that. For example, one of them, Ergin Opangan, argued that Kurdish dialects are not mutually understandable, but according to my latest research, it is not the case in Kurdistan region of Iraq, because here education is mainly in Kurdish, and Central Kurdish plays like a lingua franca for all Kurdish dialects in Kurdistan region of Iraq. Another fact is that Kurds in Eastern Kurdistan or in Iranian Kurdistan, they also speak Central Kurdish, and they have had a great impact on Kurdish language in southern Kurdistan. Most Kurds in Iranian Kurdistan, they know their language, and Kurdistan Republic in Mahabad also has had a great impact here. So these factors make Kurdish dialect is mutually understandable here, while in other parts, in particular in Bakur, it is not the case. I just want to show this. I did this research at Ko University, mutual understanding among Kurdish dialect speakers at Ko University. I mean, the participants were students. Here we have Central Kurdish. Almost all Hawrami speakers, they speak Central Kurdish very well, while Central Kurdish speakers have difficulties to understand Hawrami. As we said, it's going and it's melting. For Northern Kurdish, I mean, it is easier for Central Kurdish speakers, and Northern Kurdish speakers also can speak Central Kurdish in Iraqi Kurdistan. And I mean, Central Kurdish is just become center for all the dialects here. So it is the case. I did this research, and here Central Kurdish become the lingua franca, and it is recognized by Iraqi government as a formal language of Iraq, and it is printed on money, on passport and ID, etc. So it was my presentation and the situation in Iraqi Kurdistan. Thanks for your attention.
Dr. Hewa, spas bo amkati to amro. Thank you very much.